Hi Nin Yogis, it's Paige, and today I want to go through a little bit of a dynamic flow. We're going to try and keep it short and sweet, just something to build a little bit of heat in the body and get you moving. Probably don't need any props, but if you want to grab some blocks for stability in some of these positions, feel free. When you're ready, let's start seated. Comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. Usually trying to focus on making sure you're using the sit bones, so moving any fleshy parts out. If you can, have the ankles in front of each other. That allows a little bit more openness in the hips. Maybe you need the feet a little further away to do that, whatever works. Wherever you feel comfortable, I want you to shrug the shoulders up and then just let them relax. See if you feel okay to close the eyes, and we'll just start with some nice deep breathing. In and out through the nose if that's okay. And if you can, focusing on breathing deep into the belly. On your inhale, feeling it fill up. And on the exhale, squeezing and forcing the air out. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. And see if you can close the back of the throat on the exhale, creating a little bit more of an audible sound. Ujjayi breath, really big belly breathing into the belly and out with contraction. Getting a little extension in the exhale. We'll take 3 more rounds. Start to blink the eyes open. Inhale, float the arms out wide and reach up. Gaze up if it feels good for the neck. Exhale, right arm comes down, left reaches up and over. Find a little side body stretch. Think about reaching your hip and knee down towards the floor as you reach your hand away, and then press your armpit up to the ceiling to get a little bit more sensation. Take a whole breath here. Inhale, float all the way up. Exhale over the other side. Same thing again. Reach away, but then think about that knee and hip really trying to ground. Push the armpit up or ribs up. Find a whole breath here. Head can be wherever feels good for the neck. Inhale, float it all the way up. On your exhale, you're going to take a twist. One hand to the opposite thigh, other one behind you. Try and sit tall and think about wringing out the belly. Deep breath in. Exhale to go a little deeper or just find some more comfort there. Inhale through center. Exhale the other way. Inhale, think about lengthening. Exhale a little bit deeper. Good, inhale, reach the arms up one last time. And then exhale, hands are going to come down in front, roll over the shins and find your all fours position. Adjust around, shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees, everything untucked. Look between your legs, you should be able to see your feet, and we'll start moving through some cat and cow. Grip the floor with your hands, really find an active grip. Inhale, lift the heart, sink the belly, lift the sit bones, gaze forward. Try to pull the chest forward between the arms. Exhale, roll through the spine the other way. Pubic bone into the belly button, chest pulling through the spine, chin tucked in. Inhale up, exhale under. See if you can have the breath start and finish each movement. So there's a little bit of a pause at the end of each position where you're changing breath. See if you can bring that breath deep and loud like our Ujjayi breath. One more here. Good. Find your way back into the middle. I'm going to give you 2 options, a hold or moving through cat and cow in a hold. So we're going to tuck the toes under. Think about lengthening your tailbone, flattening it out, or pulling your hips and ribs in together to find a nice flat low back, engaged core. Press with the shoulders so that you've created space between the shoulder blades, and then try and hover the knees, but don't lift the butt up into the air. Try and keep it nice and low. So you can stay here for a hold with me, or we can start to move through. Inhale into cow, exhale into cat with that little hover. 2 more. Good, nice and gently release the knees, untuck the toes, wiggle them nice and close, bring the knees nice and close, come to a little seat, give your wrists a wriggle. Should be starting to feel a little bit warmer, feeling the belly on fire, starting to get a little bit of heat in the shoulders. While we're here, if you want to stretch the ankles a little more, try and pull one knee up. Try and stay tall in the spine. Don't sink back or lean onto your hands. Feel those muscles working. You can try lifting both. Make sure you're not sinking back. We're staying nice and tall. We're not cashewing, and we're really pulling if it's available. It may not be, and that's okay. Nice and gently all the way down onto the hands. Give the ankles another little wriggle. We're going to go for it again, so make sure everything is hip width apart, or knees are hip width, hands are shoulder width. Hover, hold, or hover and cat-cow, whatever works for you. Press away, hips and ribs tighten up. Hovering, nice and close. 3 deep breaths. Gently relax. Bring the feet and the knees together again, this time toes tucked under. Press back and find your way up. Shoulders, hips and heels all in a line. You should be feeling a stretch in the feet. If you want to add a little more, you can lift one knee at a time. You can lift both and go into tiptoe pose, more of a balance than a stretch. I'm pretty happy here, so I'm going to hang here. We'll be here for about 2 more breaths. Awesome. Come on down onto the hands and knees. Give the ankles a little bit of a wriggle. Scrunch the toes. Try to separate them. Get all those muscles in the feet working. And then out to your tabletop, all fours. Working into the shoulders a little more. You're going to draw some circles with your shoulders around the wrists. Doesn't matter how far or how big this range is. Just work with sensation. Should be a stretch through the forearm, a bit of strength in the wrist, especially if you're like jellyfish grabbing the floor. Make sure you are. Keep that nice and active in the hands and wrists. I'm going to change directions when you get to the back here. Other way. Make sure you're pushing away from the floor. We're not sagging into the shoulders. We'll go through that in a sec. Some protraction and retraction. 2 more. Good. All right. Stack everything back up, shoulders, elbows, and wrists. We're going to pull the shoulder blades together, keeping the arms straight, trying to really get like you could hold a piece of paper between your shoulder blades, and then push them away and apart. You're trying to wrap them around like the outsides of your shoulders, finding that space between the shoulder blades, pulling in and pushing away. Depending on how often you do this movement, you're going to have either a lot of range, like I have, if you do it a lot, or probably very little range. So don't worry about what it looks like, just try to feel. Shoulder blades pull together, they pull apart. Keeping the arms straight. Trying to keep the spine straight too. We're not like sagging around in the spine. We're going to do about 3 more. Beautiful. All right. From there, I want you to look at your hands, bring the heel of your hand or where your wrist crease is to wherever your middle finger points. So you're just coming a little bit further in front of the shoulders. I want you to shift so your shoulders are now stacked over your wrists again, and see if you can bring one foot out behind you. Now you can have the toes just touching the floor if you'd like, or to make it a little bit more challenging, lift the leg up, keep the spine nice and straight. Don't arch and lift the foot further than kind of the hip level. From there, try and even out your weight between the hands. Don't be all the way on one side because you've only got one knee down. And then see if you can bend the elbows and come close to the floor, not close to the floor, as low as you can get, and then press back up. Make sure you don't press back, just come shoulders over the wrists. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, bend to wherever your range is. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. 2 more. Beautiful. Release that knee. Bring it in line. Make sure the shoulders are over the wrists. Send the other leg out. It can be just touching the floor. Lift it up. Just make sure we don't arch. We're keeping a nice, strong kind of plank position in the body. Deep breath in. And then exhale. Find your lower elbows tucked into the sides. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Lift it up. Lower it down. 2 more. Beautiful. Toes together, knees together or wide, whatever works. Come into a little child's pose. Give the abs and the shoulders a little moment. If child's pose doesn't feel like a rest to you, you can go to any other position that does. Allow yourself to wriggle a little if you're wanting that, or be completely still if that's what you need. Let's have 2 breaths. Good, roll through the spine, find your way back up, tuck the toes, lift the hips, find your downward dog. Hands are shoulder width, feet are hip width, sit bones reaching to the ceiling, pressing actively through the shoulders so we're not sunken into the chest. Think about an A-frame shape, but then don't worry if there's a bend in the knees. Doesn't stress me out. If you want to start to lengthen the heels, just make sure when you do so, you don't also sink the hips down. From your downward dog, we're going to add some rolls. I want you to think about the energy moving through the body like it would move through a slinky. You're going to take a deep breath in, lift your heels, roll it through, pull pubic bone to belly button, roll through the spine like you're in a cat position. Keep the chin tucked in until you get forward, and then press the heels out and back for your plank. Next one will only be here for a moment, but for now I just want you to hold for a second. Then we're going to bend the knees, sink them almost to the floor. Just your tailbone to slide up and then roll your way back. Let's make it a little bit more fluid. Take a nice deep breath in. Oh, we should have exhaled. That's okay. And then exhale, roll up. Take a breath here. Let's get the breathing right. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, roll forward. That feels better. Bend the knees, inhale, roll it up. Exhale, forward. Roll it up. 2 more. Good. Start to walk the hands and feet towards each other. Find a fold. Feet can be together or hip width, whatever serves you best. Fold the arms above the head. Let the whole upper body hang. Add a little sway, whatever floats your boat, letting everything go for 2 breaths. Beautiful. Release the hands. Roll through the spine. All the way up. Awesome. Find your way to the top of the mat. Let's get through just a couple of sun salutations. Feet together or hip width, whatever serves. Find some strong foundation in the feet. I like to lift the toes and then grip with them. Squeeze all the muscles in the legs. Pull the belly in and up. Lift the chest. Release the shoulders down your back. And then reach with the fingers for the floor. Take a nice deep breath, feel everything in the body switched on, strong, rigid, tall. Open the mouth, let it go. Inhale, reach up, find length. Exhale, hinge at the hips, bend the knees, fold all the way down. Inhale, flatten out the back for a halfway lift. Press against the legs, whatever you need, just find that L shape. Exhale, hands come down, step back, high plank. On your exhale, you can go chaturanga, but for the first one, let's just knees down, elbows glued in, lower the chest. On your inhale, press the tops of the feet in, pull the shoulders down your back, and lift into a little cobra. Exhale, press through the hands and knees, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Downward dog, don't hang out there, just walk those feet to the top of your mat. Take a halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold it in. Inhale, roll and reach all the way up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, high plank. You can continue with the knees down option, but if you want to go through chaturanga, I want you to shift the shoulders forward, and then on your exhale, elbows glued into the ribs until they get in line with the shoulders. Then you're going to relax the feet and lift to whatever variation, maybe it's still here, of up dog or cobra. Press through the feet if you want to go really active, hips reaching to the floor, pressing through the upper back and up. Whichever one works. Through the hands and knees or flip through the feet, I don't mind. Walking your way to the front. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Roll through the spine. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Half lift. Exhale to plank. Inhale, choose your option. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift, and exhale back. If you want to add a little more to this, let's lift the heels, bend the knees, gaze forward. Think about trying to lift and float to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll and reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, high plank. Inhale, choosing your option. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. And exhale, back. Step or float forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Good. Roll all the way through the spine. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a whole breath. Let it out. Good. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, walk back to a downward dog. Good. Let's get into the hips a little. From here, on your next inhale, right leg's going to float its way up, finding three-legged dog. You can do whatever feels right with the foot in terms of flexing or pointing. Make sure your hips stay closed. It's easier to know if your foot's flexed and your toes are pointed down rather than out. That would be an open hip, closed hip position. From there, think about the roll that we did earlier and take a nice deep breath in, and then on your exhale, bring that knee underneath your chest and hover it away from the floor. Not down here. Try and lift up. Inhale to send it all the way back and up. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale in. Inhale up. On this next one, think about as you exhale, bringing the knee out around to the side and stepping it to the outside of your hands. From there, lower the back knee, melt into a lizard stretch. Inner thighs, hips, glutes, more the back leg than the front leg for most of us. Find some juicy hip stretch. If you've got some blocks, you can come up a little higher if it's too much for you here. If it's really, really intense, scooting that back knee forward will help. And if you're wanting a little bit more, lower. We don't want to be super passive here, and by that I mean just kind of hanging out and relaxed in the joints. I want you to make sure your knee's not falling out. We're actually trying to pull that in towards the shoulder, and we're thinking about the back knee and the front foot squeezing in towards each other, so we've got a little bit of active adduction in the inner thighs. We can take about 2 more breaths here. Beautiful. Find your way up onto your hands. Now we're going to let everything kind of relax a little bit more. Let that foot roll onto the pinky toe edge and let the knee fall out. This may already feel really different and you're happy here. Sweet, stay there. Otherwise you can bring the same hand as the leg on. You're not really pushing, just adding a little gentle push. Think more about the torso. Instead of being down towards the mat, you're now going to start to rotate through the spine. Finding a little bit of spinal rotation while we get that glute stretch in that hip. If you're feeling particularly pretzely today, you can bring that back leg more onto the thigh side of the knee, pointing the toe up and reaching towards you, or even reach that hand back to grab it. Option, you don't need to take it. You can sit there laughing at me like, why would I ever grab that back foot if that's what you want to do? But for some people, it feels really good. One more breath wherever you are. Start to unravel. Hands are going to come back down. Start to flatten the foot. Tuck the back toes. Think about those inner thighs pulling in towards each other as you lift the hips and step back. Wriggle around, walk the dog, whatever you need. Probably feeling a little out of balance with one hip stretched out more than the other. That's okay, we'll even it out. Take a whole breath in downward dog here. And then on your inhale, left leg's going to float its way up. We want to keep those hips closed, so remember, flex the foot, pull the toes down to the floor, that'll help. On your next exhale, knee comes in, holding it as far away from the floor as you can. Then inhale, send it back up. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale up. One more in. All the way up. And then think about coming out to the side as you come forward, footsteps to the outside of the hands. Lower the back knee. Make all the same adjustments that you need to. It doesn't need to be what you did on the other side, but you can bring the knee closer, you can come lower, but keep it active. Knee pulling in towards the shoulder. Inner thighs drawing in towards each other, or think about the front foot and the back knee trying to close in on each other. Find wherever you'd like to be and take a couple of breaths. Amazing, come back up. Start to relax and soften a little more into this position. Then the foot's gonna roll to the pinky toe edge and the knee will fall out. You're perfectly fine to just stay here. If this is what feels good, stay here, do what feels good. Otherwise, the hand to the knee. Focus on rotating the spine more than pushing the knee, and you'll find you get a nice little spinal sensation as well as the glute stretch. And the option for pretzels if you'd like. Grab that back foot. Wriggle the knee a little to make sure that you're on the thigh side, not on the knee joint. It'll make it feel just that little bit more comfortable. One more breath wherever you are. Amazing. Hands gonna come back down. You're gonna flatten the foot, tuck the back toes. Think about drawing the inner thighs towards each other as you lift the hips and step back. Brilliant, find your downward dog. Find a little bit of movement, a little bit of stillness, whatever serves. 2 breaths. Great, on your next inhale, right leg rises up. Good, as you exhale, step it to the outside of the hands. This time I want you to have heel in, toe out. So you're finding a little bit of a 45-degree angle. You're gonna keep those hips nice and active and pulling in towards each other, and then see if you can step the left foot to join you. Lower the hips, reach the arms out in front. Find Malasana. If you wanna have elbows to knees, that's fine too. A block will come in handy if you really can't get quite low here. You can have a block there to sit on. You'll just have to navigate getting past it. We're gonna bring the hips up and the hands down. Step the left foot and then the right foot back. Find downward dog. First few always feel a little awkward. We'll get more comfy with it. On your inhale, left leg rises up and comes out and around. 45-degree angle with the foot. Keep the hips active, right foot steps forward, find Malasana. Good, and then hands down, step back. You're gonna go back the way you came. Good, inhale, right leg up. Exhale, step it forward, both feet. Inhale, back. Other side. And release. Knees to the floor, child's pose, wherever feels like a rest. Have a moment, capture your breath. Good. Now, I want you to come to a seat. I'm going to do a little demonstration of a variation of a handstand or a jump to handstand that includes that Malasana shape that we were just doing. If that feels like it's really out of your realm of possibility for you, that's fine. I have another variation where you don't need to fly at all. But for those of you that are reasonably comfortable in your Malasana, so you don't need any props, maybe it's not comfortable, but you can get there in that positioning that we just did. You're gonna start in that position, hands out. You're gonna think about bringing your hands forward and picking your hips up. And this might be all that you do today. And if you don't feel good in Malasana, I have a variation, but that might be all you do today. Hands down, shoulders over wrists, hips up, and come back down. Otherwise, what you might try to do is pick up the feet, stay in your Malasana upside down, and then come back down, okay? I made that look pretty easy. I've been doing this a while. Play with it, have a little bit of fun. We're not trying to put a heap of momentum into coming forward because you could tip over. So we want you to be really mindful of the space that you're in. Make sure that you're safe to try this and make sure that you are really mindful of what you're trying to do. We're trying to invert, go upside down, this shape. So we want to keep the legs in this shape. Feet drawing in towards the buttocks, knees in the armpits. As we bring the hands down and we try this, we're going to see that the legs lengthen. So the difference, instead of trying to lengthen and then tuck back up, is keeping them in and just pulling up, okay? Shoulders engaged, pull up and back down. Better off little baby versions and getting used to that sensation than going all the way over. If you're ready to start playing with that, go for it. If not, I'll explain to you the variation from downward dog, where you don't need to fly at all, and it's more for a handstand switch, so that you can have something to feel comfortable to play with, building a lot of the same skills, strength and having hopefully as much fun. From a downward dog, you're gonna step 1 foot forward. It won't go much further forward, but you wanna find that connection between the ribs and the thigh. You're gonna flip the other foot. The idea being, we're not pushing off this foot, we're gonna use the back foot's momentum to swing up. As that swings up, we're gonna take our shoulders from being behind the wrist to on top and find this. Switching to the other side. So we get an even amount. If you want to turn this into more of a fly moment like we had in the Malasana variation, you flip the foot, gaze between the hands. As that leg lifts, shoulders come over, you try and just let this foot lift with the momentum. You're trying to think about stacking shoulders and wrists with the hips and the toe. So that long leg tries to find the stack with you and then find your way back down. Whichever variation feels best. If you want to try both, go for it. You can click pause, that's the joy of a video. Have a little bit of time to play. Make sure in the Malasana variation that you are really slow, practicing that stack, and only lifting as far as you can control. In the downward dog variation, same rules apply, but make sure you're also staying even with the two sides of the body. So hopefully you had a little bit of a play with one or both of those, and hopefully you did pause it because I wanted you to have that time to play. And now we're just gonna start to stretch it out a little, start to cool it down a little. We won't take too long to get you back on with your day. So find your way to all fours. We're gonna start with some breath and movement again, trying to bring back that more vinyasa, more flow. Take your right arm up as you inhale. Think elbow to the ceiling first and then unravel the arm. And then as you exhale, roll down under, laying on the shoulder. Take an inhale to reach all the way back up. Same thing, elbow then wrist. Exhale, curl it under. Inhale up, one more. Exhale all the way under. Lay down. Now you can keep using that left hand to press to try and stack the shoulders, or you can start to send that left arm away and lay down facing the floor, melting that left armpit down towards the floor, and you'll get a different stretch in the shoulder. So you can kind of play with both one or the other, see what serves. We're going to take about 2 breaths. Whichever variation you're in, find your way out through reaching that right arm to the ceiling one more time. And then bring it back down. Other side, left, lift, curl it under. Just for a moment. Exhale, roll. One more time. And then finding wherever you want to be. Staying here, trying to press the shoulders or lengthening that arm and melting over the arm. Gotta get that microphone out of the way, sorry. One more breath. Find your way out the way you came in, left arm to the ceiling, big breath. Relax it down. Coming into puppy, if you've got a block or a pillow nearby, feel free to use it. Hips are going to stay over the knees. You're thinking about reaching your hands as far away from that hip point as you can. So you're getting this like reach away. Should be a stretch to the front of the body, strengthen the back of the body. For a deeper variation than kind of reaching, resting on something or resting the head down, if you can, think about pulling the ribs, if it's available to you, in towards the thighs as you melt the heart down and gaze forward. Any of these variations, totally valid. Let's take about 3 breaths. You're going to scoot your way forward onto the belly, up onto the forearms, elbows under the shoulders, into a sphinx pose kind of, but what I want you to do from there, bend one knee, bring the foot towards your bottom, keep your elbows grounded and reach that foot across as far as feels good for a little low back release, and then control your way back. You're going to just switch between those two, a little close to the wall, for a couple of rounds, a little bit of a dynamic movement, and then we'll have a little bit of a hold on each side. So when we come back to this first side again, I want you to find wherever your arms want to be. Maybe you lift up, open a little bit more. Maybe you like having both hands down. Just find a moment to kind of soften into this low back twist, hip opening position. Good. Unravel. Find where you want to be on the other side. May not be the same. It's a-okay. I like to open up and then come back down. It's just what works for me. Unravel. Beautiful. Hands underneath the shoulders. Press through hands and knees. Come all the way back, knees and toes together. Bring the hands in and think about pulling the chest away from the floor, rounding, and then trying to get your head nice and close to your knees. A nice rounded child's pose. Might feel good to bring the hands by the feet. Take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, just let everything melt. One more big breath like that. Good. Using the hands for support, start to find your way to a seat on those legs. Good. Bring the hands behind you, interlace. Try to keep the palms together, but if you can't, that's okay. Pulling the hands towards the floor, opening the chest. Good. Release, interlace in front. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, push away and round. Good. Reach them all the way up. Release it out. And then have a wonderful day. Thanks, guys.